Hey folks, welcome back. Short video today on headlights. And for this video we're going to feature my 75 Triumph Spitfire. This car is very special to me, although I guess in different ways they all are. This one is my very first little British car I ever bought. I've had it for about 25 years now, and I've pretty much gone through it nose to tail. It's been there's very few parts that I haven't replaced at least once on this car, upgraded, etc. So headlights. About 15 years ago, I took the sealed beam headlights out and I installed halogen bulbs in the car along with a set of relays, and I'll show you that in a moment here when we lift the bonnet. At the time, those were probably the best you could get in terms of the technology available. And they work well. I mean, they've served me fine for about 15 years now. But recently I've converted other cars, my TR8 and my 68 Spitfire, to LED headlights. And the difference is just, it's startling how much better they are, how much whiter the light is, and how much better the beam projects on them. So I thought I'd do the same thing with the little blue car, since it could benefit from the upgrade. So let me show you here. I already did this side this morning. As you can see, the bulb is slightly different than that one, just different manufacturers. But I'll turn on the headlights and you can see hopefully the camera will pick up the difference. It's, to the human eye, it's quite noticeable. So I just come around here, flip the headlights on. I'll come back here, and you can see that's the halogen bulb on the relays, which is quite adequate. But when you come over here, you see the difference with the white light from the LEDs. Quite a difference in person. I don't know how much difference the camera is picking up. It's a much whiter light. The beam pattern is better, and it just travels better than the halogen bulb. I know a lot of folks are big on maintaining the correctness of the car in terms of that, and I'm all for that. If it's your car, you do what you want with it. However, when it comes to things like lighting, brakes, and general safety things, I'm all for latest and greatest and whatever upgrades are out there. So yeah, so that's the difference there between LEDs and halogen, which are the upgrade from the original sealed beam. And that halogen bulb is getting direct power from the battery through the relays that I installed many years ago. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of what's needed to change the headlights in a Spitfire. Let me just go ahead and turn these headlights off. So the first thing you have to do is you have to remove this shroud here. Let's see if I can get the camera pointed there. This is all one piece that surrounds the headlight, and it kind of finishes it off. And to remove that, there are 3 bolts. They are 7/16, and 1 is easy to get to, and 2 are kind of a pain in the butt. So the first one is this guy right here. Very simple to get to, 7/16 socket, right on there, boom, zip that right off. The next 2, one is right down there beside that hole. You can see in there. And then the third one, I'm not even sure if I can get that on camera. The third one is, you have to reach down here. Let's see if I can get the camera in there. I don't think I can. I don't think I'm flexible. There it is. You can just see it. So there's 3, one there, one behind the bucket, right there, and then that guy, which is super easy to get to. None are really particularly hard to get at. You just have to flex a little bit. A a simple 7/16 socket extension would be helpful for getting at the two that are kind of back behind. And if you have a flexible head driver, those are pretty nice for this project. Once that comes off, once you take those 3 bolts out, this whole metal piece here that the headlight sits on, that will just basically fall out. So top tip, put something soft like a rubber mat under there before you start so that it doesn't damage the paint when it falls. Once you have that off, I'll shoot some video go through here, but I'm not going to try and shoot video of me removing those 3 bolts because I'd probably say things that would kick me off YouTube trying to reach them. Once you have that off, the only other tool you need is a Phillips screwdriver. And I'll pause the video, and then when I get the shroud removed, I'll show you guys where the screws are. There are 2 sets of screws behind this that hold the chrome trim ring, which holds the headlight in place. Your Phillips screws hold the trim ring. The flat screws are the adjustment screws. So you don't want to mess with the adjustment screws unless your headlights need to be adjusted. And you just take the Phillips screws out, unplug the bulb, plug the new bulb in, easy peasy. Again, I'll shoot some video on that when we get to it. So yeah, that's it for right now. Stay tuned. I'll tack on the video when we get the shroud removed and get to swapping the headlights out. Thanks. Okay, we're back. That didn't take long. Again, 3 bolts, not too hard to do. I do recommend, one thing I forgot to mention is disconnect your battery when you're doing this because you're working with electrical. So probably not a bad idea to just be safe. So I've removed all 3 bolts, and the shroud's actually just laying in here just so I can show you how it kind of fits in there. So we're just going to take that right out, and you can see 2 of the holes right here and here for the bolts. That's the super easy one to get to. Remember, the bonnet tips up. This one's a little more tricky because it's kind of inside the channel that the wiring runs in. And then the third one is actually down there where that hole is. So all 3 are a little bit of a trick to get to them, but not too bad. So that's one of them. And there's the other on the side, and then there's one right there on the bottom. So it goes in like that. So once you remove that, you are faced with this headlight ring. As I mentioned before in the video, there are 2 types of screws in here. There are flat screws and there are Phillips screws. We are concerned with the Phillips screws. There's 3, one here, and one right there. So 3 in total. Leave the flat screws alone unless you need to re-aim your headlights. Otherwise, they could stay right there. So we're going to take the, I'm doing this one-handed, so this is fun. We're going to take the screws out for the trim ring. Sorry, I should probably fast forward this part because it's not exciting watching somebody undo screws. I'm going to put them in. By the way, if you don't have some of these, get them. These little magnetic trays are fantastic. Then you don't ever lose screws, because I can't tell you how many times I've put loose screws down and then turned around and kicked them and lost them. So now we're taking that second screw out. I like to take the bottom one out second. That way it's not holding everything in and isn't my last screw to take out before the ring comes off. Third ring. Headlights. Typically I buy my LEDs from the UK from a gentleman named Duncan who owns a site called classiccarleds.com. Highly recommend. I'll put a link to his site in the video. These actually I bought from Little British Car Company here in the US. They make a kit for them and they are pretty good quality and reasonably priced. As you can see, the trim ring has just come off. There's only those 3 screws that hold it. You can see the 3 screw holders there. I am holding the headlight bulb in with my hand right now. Okay, we'll get it balanced and we'll set this aside. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I upgraded these to halogen bulbs a number of years ago. The original bulbs were a sealed 7-inch unit, so they would have been just that, sealed up. You plug it in, you go. That's it. These were an upgrade, and sorry, again, I'm working with one hand here. So this is a standard, I think it's H4 halogen bulb. Toss that off to the side. And this, you could just take the bulb out by loosening these little wires and popping it out. So standard for newer cars. The only fun thing about the Spitfire is you can't get to this from underneath the bonnet because it's a sealed bucket back in there. So there's only enough room for the wiring to come through. One other thing I will mention: if you're doing this, I highly recommend replacing these pigtails. As you can see, these are in pretty good shape. They are a short piece of wire that goes from the socket into about the center of the bonnet and where it connects into the main wiring harness on either side. They are typically, this plastic is typically just past it. I mean, the youngest of these cars is 46 years old at this point. So it's worth it while you're in here. It's not hard to do. It's really just plug and play, and they're not expensive. I think they're about 10 or 15 bucks. But it ensures that your plug isn't going to fall apart on you and that the wiring is good. So highly recommend that. So let's see how we can do with one hand on these LEDs. So for the LED kit, you get two boxes. You get a box of the headlights. One is already gone, of course, and then you get a new headlight unit, which is very similar to the one I just took out that has the halogen bulb in it. I want to use these because they match up with the LEDs, so I don't have to worry about different reflectors in the glass or anything like that, because you can see this has a reflector, I don't know if you can make that out, that the bulb sits actually behind so that it projects out. So this part's pretty simple. Just take your LED bulb and you loosen this cover by pinching these two wires and pushing down and rotating out on them, which is much easier with two hands. And you pop this little rubber piece out. This is just a filler piece, so that's trash. Line up your tabs here and here and here. They will only line up one way in these grooves that you see here, which will make sure that the bulb is aimed properly inside the housing. And then you just flip this back over and clip it into place on this other side, and it'll hold the bulb in. The socket, pretty straightforward, just meets right up with that. Plug it right in and away you go. So I'm going to stop the recording at this point because it's extremely difficult for me to do this with one hand, and I think this is pretty straightforward. It shouldn't really take any special advice or anything on it. So stay tuned, and I'll have the bulb plugged in and put back in the housing here momentarily. Okay, real quick, here you see the bulb attached with the little tabs. You just push down on those, move them out to the side to release the bulb. One note when you're putting it back in, pay attention. This writing here at the bottom should be at the 6 o'clock position. Chances are you'll have to rotate your plug around, which is no big deal. You want to make sure that the bulb is in the proper location, orientation wise. So stay tuned, we'll be back. Okay, we're back. The bulb is mounted. The wiring harness is plugged in. We've got our 3 screws here, here, and one down here. It's hard to get on the camera, but it's right there above my fingertip. There you go. Those 3 Phillips screws are in place. You will have to rotate the bezel a little bit. It does have clips on it that will kind of slide into place, and once you get the tabs to line up, it should slide right into place. So that's it. Before we go through putting the 3 bolts back in place and putting the surround on it, we're going to go ahead and reconnect the battery and then double check to make sure that bulb works, because it would be not cool to do all that and then find out the bulb doesn't work. All right, so we've got the battery reconnected. By the way, if you don't have a battery cutoff switch in your classic car, you need a battery cutoff switch in your classic car. There's a variety of them available. That's just the particular one I used here. All right, so here we go, live test. And it looks like we do have headlights. So come around here, and there we go. Nice white light. Great for driving at night. Again, I know some purists aren't fans of these, but in my opinion, you can't really tell the difference between these and sealed beams and halogen bulbs when they're not on. If you're that worried about it, you maybe get your car judged at shows or something, and I don't know if they look at the headlight beam or the headlight bulb type or not. Yeah, sorry, I will choose the safety of being able to see well at night over the originality of what looks like a flickering candle inside a glass bulb, comparatively. So that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put the surround back on, and we'll call this job done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.